Peace, everybody. Welcome to Capital Combat. The name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch.
Rob Jarrell.
And today we're going to recap for you the HBO, was it Boxing After Dark World Championship Boxing?
Yep.
One of them. It was HBO. People got knocked out, and we're going to talk about it. First off, we're going to start with Stevenson-Bellew versus Sergey Kovalev. Go ahead, Rob.
Okay, so this happened kind of how I thought it would, based on a fight that I've seen. Well, of course, all the fights that we've seen with Sergey Kovalev, but mostly because of a past fight with Kovalev-Sillakh versus Denis Graschev. Sillakh was winning that fight by outboxing him, and he's been, I believe he was one of the prospects of the year, or on his way to being prospects of the year, until he got to that fight. He wasn't able to knock Graschev out, and eventually got stopped himself. So something told me that, I'm not going to say he has a weak chin, but not the best chin. And then having that type of chin versus the murderous puncher that Kovalev is, not a good combination. So what we got was Kovalev-Sillakh doing a little bit of good boxing, you know, trying to establish the jab, and Kovalev still walking him down, having those straight, powerful punches coming dead at Sillakh. And in the second round, he got caught.
Oh boy, did he.
And from that one punch, people were surprised that he got up to continue, but you could tell in his face he wasn't all there. He had the 1,000-yard stare, like, I think I want to fight, but I can't feel my face. And then he took a 3-punch combination to end the fight.
Yeah,
He was on Queer Street, y'all.
no Matt. But honestly, I had a little soft spot for I like Kovalev-Sillakh. I think he's a good fighter.
He is.
The thing I didn't like about him was his Achilles heel, that he keeps his chin really high up in the air. Don't really like that. But also, more so than the fact that Sergey Kovalev is a murderous puncher, we all know that. Mm-hmm. The way he set it up was very, very deceptive. In the first round, Sillakh was using his foot speed and his hand speed very well, catching pot shot and Kovalev very well. So Kovalev decided to start jabbing him to the body. And this was not like a little pity-pat jab either. This was a very, very hard stabbing body shot, kind of like you see Floyd Mayweather do as well. And a lot of other guys use it as well. I believe Andre Ward uses it. And it stopped Sillakh in his tracks, especially when he tried to counter over top with the right. He hit him just hard enough to knock him off balance, and the punch would just sail right like in front of his face. And Kovalev also began to cut the ring off and walk with Sillakh rather than just let him box around the ring and try and get tired. So there's some very good things technically going on with Sergey Kovalev that allow him to set up those power punches that people need to take notice of, especially the Adonis Stevensons and who else has a belt in that division? Bernard Hopkins. They probably won't fight, but
no, I know exactly who you're talking about. We'll get to in that once it comes to mind. But
Shumenov, he probably won't. No, he's with Golden Boy, so they're not gonna fight.
No.
But yeah, that's all. That's everything about that fight. Kovalev did an excellent job, showed some great technical wrinkles. That guy's a problem, and we're going to talk about the main event and why the fighter in the main event, I feel, should probably not fight this guy. And in that main event, we had the light heavyweight champ, the current lineal light heavyweight champ of the world, excuse me, Adonis Superman Stevenson versus Tony Bellew. Go ahead, Rob.
Okay, so after this fight, which I'm going to say Adonis Stevenson is probably on his way to Fighter of the Year. He fought he fought 4 times. He knocked out the man that beat him, Darnell Boone. He knocked out the lineal champ at 175 in Chad Dawson.
in like 70 seconds.
And then he knocked out Tabor's Cloud, who is a world-class fighter. Yeah, he was a belt holder. So that speaks volumes for him. And going into this fight, his confidence was at all-time high. Yeah. And he's fighting a guy, Stevenson-Bellew, who is a good fighter, but doesn't quite have the skills or the athleticism to really stick with someone like Adonis Stevenson. He has the will. I mean, he can take a punch, and he can let his hand go when he wants to, but it's just a combination of everything that Adonis Stevenson could do with good ring generalship, boxing, and of course his athletic prowess. And in this one, you can see that he had the advantages from the get-go. That southpaw stance really caused a lot of problems for Bellew. Yeah. And that straight left hand pretty much found its mark every round. And in the 7th round, if I'm not mistaken, sixth round, it found its mark. He put Tony Bellew down. He got back up, and Adonis Stevenson just overwhelmed him.
Yeah. Bellew did do a lot of good things in that fight. He used his foot movement well. He had Adonis Stevenson crossing his feet a lot. Unfortunately, he couldn't capitalize on that. Another fighter who was famous for doing that was Lucas Matisse, and you saw how well Danny Garcia took advantage of that. There might not be a fighter besides Bernard Hopkins who they won't fight because of different promotion companies that could take advantage of it. So he can work on it. Mm-hmm. And one of the good things I do see from Stevenson is that every fight he is improving. He still had that footwork issue that I saw in the Cloud fight, but he did start to cut the ring off a little bit better around the 3rd, 4th round. His left hand reached the target fairly easily, but because of the movement of Bellew in the early rounds, he found himself reaching a lot. He's got to watch that against some of the other more well-accomplished boxers in the division. Mm-hmm. Or if Andre Ward would have come up, that's a flaw that he definitely has to tighten up. And yeah, those are the only two. He reached a lot, and he was crossing his feet trying to cut the ring off, rather than him stepping with the foot that in the direction he wanted to go to. He would step with the opposite foot because he's a southpaw, like I'm standing in the southpaw stance now. Instead of him stepping with his right foot first to go to the right, he would step back with his left foot, and someone smart like Bernard Hopkins or Andre Ward would see that, tag him with a right hand and drop him because his feet are out of place. So that was a balance issue there. But once he got in his groove, I mean, it was smooth sailing. He's got a great trainer in Javon Sugar Hill, nephew of Emmanuel Stewart, rest in peace, one of the best trainers in the game, period.
That's right.
And you can tell, because I've been watching Adonis Stevenson for a few years, and at first I didn't think he was much at all. I didn't think he'd amount to much. I thought he was like this guy who was wild and could punch, and eventually someone would box his ears off or knock him out. He got knocked out, he came back, he improved, but with all that being said, I don't think he wants any parts of Sergey Kovalev.
Nah. With that crossing of the feet, and a guy like Kovalev, even if he doesn't hit you flush, if he does hit you and your feet are crossed, you are going down. And that's, if not knock you out, it's a scoring point. It's just one more point. It's a 10-8 round at that point. Now, I don't think his chin has been truly tested lately, but he's been doing a good job of
masking it.
Either masking it or avoiding like heavy punches altogether. I mean, he shows great movement in the ring. That's what surprised us in the Cloud fight, was that he was able to nullify Cloud's attack. Now, Cloud is a come-forward fighter, but he's also very heavy-handed. Now,
Bellew did hurt him. I can't remember what round.
It was.
I think it was like the third. Yeah, he did hurt him. So, something to look. That's another reason why I'm saying, like, he keeps saying, yeah, I'll fight him, but I don't want to fight him. Like, if you listen to his post-fight comment, like his post-fight interview, he's like, yeah, I'll fight him, you know, if y'all give me a whole lot of money. Otherwise, I'm not gonna fight the guy. And that's very smart. I mean, it's his brains that are gonna get scrambled. So what is for our entertainment? He's gonna have to live with that brain scrambling afterwards. So I feel him on that. But
I will say this: Kovalev called out Stevenson. Stevenson called out Ward, Froch.
He called out Froch and Hopkins.
Froch and Hopkins. He didn't call out Ward. I think Ward still would give him a lot. Ward is just someone who, in B-Hop, are people who can nullify what he does well because they've seen it, done it, and can stop it.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I say because Kovalev is a very deceptive technical fighter. Like, people see the power, but they don't really see how he sets up that power. And he's got a great trainer in John David Jackson who has taught him some great ways to set up those power punches. And I mean, he's just on a tear. So
now it's kind of hard to say who's next because this fight is brewing. Adonis versus Kovalev is brewing, but we don't want to get it too early because that, I could honestly say, if they knock out their next opponents, could go to pay-per-view. I mean, these are knockout artists.
Yeah,
these are the guys you want to see.
Not going distance.
Not at all. But you don't want to hurt them too early by fighting a B-Hop or a Andre Ward. Maybe Carl Froch, maybe a Mikhail Kessler. Shoot, even the winner, it's kind of hard to say because you had the winner of the Pascal Butte fight. And an all-Canada matchup is a moneymaker because Adonis Stevenson is out of Canada and so is Pascal and Butte. So that remains to be seen because Bell Center in Canada getting sold out.
Oh yeah, they show up out there. They support their fighters. And also putting Kovalev in with one of those guys would be a very bad idea for the winner of that fight. But he's going to spectacularly knock them out, and that's going to bring even more fuel for that fire for him to fight Stevenson. They're going to have to fight eventually. I don't think it's going to end well for Stevenson, but that's why they got to fight, because he might tap that chin, because Stevenson got some power too. And everything I said would just be moot.
And I don't think Kovalev has fought anyone that's been as hard as a puncher as Stevenson either.
That's true. Sillakh was probably the toughest fighter that he had fought as far as power, skill. He had fought Campillo. Yep. Campillo wasn't a power puncher, but he was a great boxer. Got steamrolled by Kovalev. Sillakh got steamrolled by Kovalev. So we'll have to see who can really take him into deep waters. I think the farthest he's been is 8 rounds, and I think that was like a draw.
Right.
So we got to see what happens when he gets to the creme de la creme of the division. Unfortunately, a lot of those guys are with the other company.
That's right. So
that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you like it on Facebook, on YouTube. Make sure you share it with your friends on all the platforms that you have your social network on. And make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Check us out on our Facebook page, Capital of Combat, our Google Plus page, same name. That way you get all of our updates. We also cover like some of the other fights that are going on that we don't have time to actually do like breakdowns and things for. We remind you about fights coming up. And
email us. We want to hear from you with your questions, your comments. Doesn't matter. capitalofcombat@gmail.com. We are checking our email every day so we can answer your questions.
Yes, so send us some questions. We've answered one email question for a show. You can check that out. And once you send us yours, we'll answer that as well. So thanks again, and we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
This is round 1 and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and cost. My fists are on fire, I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage, keep thinking that it's a game. I kick crime, hurricane, I told them I don't play, I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.